Well, the New Hampshire primary is now behind us, but it was a lot closer than many expected. Where things now stand in the contest to find the next Democratic presidential nominee is our topic this afternoon as we go around the table campaign 2020. Joining me around the table today is Jim Byrne, the former chairman of the Pennsylvania Democratic Party. And then on the other side of the table is Keith Schmidt, who was the state director for former Republican Senator Rick Santorum. Keith also assisted Santorum in his run for the presidential nomination for the Republican Party. Jim, there's really no surprise that Bernie Sanders won last night, but what may be a surprise is how quickly Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren are sinking.
Those stories are as predominant as Biden's win and Buttigieg's rise and Klobuchar's rise, quite frankly, Keith. I mean,
Sure.
Look at what happened with Vice President Biden. A vice president to finish in 5th place, single digits, no delegates. Barack Obama's vice president is quite telling. He leaves to go to South Carolina, where he's still losing support in other demographics.
You can't put lipstick on a pig. I think it's pretty much over. You can lose these two sometimes and recover. I suppose there's some anecdotal evidence of that. But when you're 4th in Iowa, 5th, as you said, in a single digit.
Right.
And remember, he spent money and resources there. He didn't skip these primaries.
No.
And for 2 weeks, he was about all by himself along with Mayor Buttigieg because they were tied up in the Senate hearings for the impeachment.
Yes.
So it's a remarkable, I don't think you could see yourself through to bounce back from this. I think the money's going to start to dry up and we already see the numbers turning.
Well, let's turn it around, though, and talk about the more of the positive side.
Sure.
You were with Rick Santorum when he won in Iowa, although
Absolutely.
you didn't know that he won in Iowa for
took
2
us a
weeks
while.
because of that was a mess up over there as well. But he had momentum coming out of there to some degree because he did well. So what did Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar have to do to become that moderate candidate? And
Well, really what they have to do is continue to exceed expectations. Everybody says, well, are they going to be able to outmaneuver Bernie? They don't have to outmaneuver Bernie right away. Right now, the expectations was that Warren was going to be the woman to beat on the Democratic ticket. Right now, it's clearly Klobuchar at this point. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the victory last night by Sanders, it's a victory, but it's a hollow victory. For Pete Buttigieg to come within 1% of Bernie Sanders, who won that primary last time, who's from the neighboring state, that's the story. The story is not the victory. It's Buttigieg on his heels.
Let's keep an eye on that. You're right. I mean, Warren loses in her own backyard. Senator from Massachusetts, a progressive, loses to a moderate from the Midwest. Bernie Sanders supposed to walk away with that state. His next door neighbor loses to a moderate from the Midwest. How are Klobuchar, how are Buttigieg doing with the minority voters, with the Latino voters, with the African Americans? A big drop for Vice President Biden. Who is going to get that votes? Watch the dynamic. We're 10 days from Nevada, or 10 days from Nevada, I believe, and then 2 weeks from South Carolina.
Well, it was a previous broadcast where I said, keep your eye on Mayor Pete. Now I'm going to tell you to keep your eye on Mayor Mike Bloomberg.
Well, we're going to get to that hopefully in just a moment.
That's where we're heading.
But the next two contests, which you just brought up, Jim, are Nevada and South Carolina.
Yep.
This now is a look at the latest average of polls for those two states as compiled by Real Clear Politics. Biden is putting a lot of hope on those two contests, especially South Carolina, and he is counting on a strong African-American turnout. But there could be trouble ahead. According to the latest Quinnipiac poll released on Monday, nationwide support of Biden by African-Americans has now dropped by nearly half. Bloomberg is rising faster than anyone, but now there's a pushback against him based on the stop and frisk law that New York had in effect when he was the mayor.
Well, sure. I mean, he has to win over that demographic. He is doing well in that demographic, but those polls, most of that has been done before the reminder of the litigation over the stop and frisk. It's a Terry stop and criminal law. He has been in federal court for 10 years on that, and there was another class action litigation suit filed as recently as September.
So basically you're saying this could come back to haunt him?
Expect him to be the prime focus of attacks from everybody else on that stage next week. And I think like the end of a chess game, watch in every single state in the next 2 months.
All right.
Well, the problem for Joe Biden in South Carolina and Nevada is Nevada's 10 days away and South Carolina's 17 days away.
Yeah.
He should hope that it's tomorrow.
Yep, exactly. I want to quickly throw up the national poll that we have here. This is from Real Clear Politics compilation again of the polls. And as you're going to see right now, Joe Biden is dropping like a rock on this. Elizabeth Warren's going down. Sanders has taken over the lead, but Michael Bloomberg, as you pointed out, Keith, is now in 3rd place.
We're talking about dropping in a period of days. Now you're talking about a week and a half, two and a half weeks of South Carolina. Folks, he's not going to make it. It's over for him. Now the question is, where does the party support go? I don't know that you agree with me, but Bernie Sanders, a 79-year-old running for his first term. It's going to be a hard sell in November. I think Klobuchar and Buttigieg are good VP candidates, but they're going to look for another moderate, and I think it's going to be Bloomberg.
Don't underestimate the Sanders infrastructure. Don't underestimate the energy around his supporters. This Bloomberg dynamic is going to be fascinating. Watch in the weeks and months to come.
Sure.
The groundwork he has laid in these states moving forward.
We will see whether that's the case or not. Gentlemen, thank you for going around the table.
I always enjoy it.